Hello, everyone. Hey, like, how you doing, buddy? Why don't you find hippopotamuses hiding in trees? They're really good at it. Because they're really good at it. What's the difference between an African elephant and an Indian elephant? About 5,000 miles. How you doing, Lycan? Good to see you, buddy. Maybe don't you be surprised. How's everyone's doing? How's everyone's Tuesday? Yeah, it's Tuesday today, isn't it? Yeah. Ajax. Transformers. Robots in disguise. How are we all doing? I was playing some more First Descendant earlier before I started streaming. It's not bad. It's very fast paced. It's like the missions are quite short, so it's quite like yeah. It's not the type of game where you're like stuck in a mission for 30 minutes. It's like 10 at tops. The Overwatch Transformers collaboration started. Oh, nice, nice. I'll have to check that out at some point, maybe. Nice. So that's what you meant by Transformers. Gotcha. I gotcha. Alright, but yeah, we're back with more God of War Ragnarok today. Back in Midgar where it's very cold. We're looking for the Fates, the Norns. So that we can find out what's happening to Atreus. Reinhardt, of course he's Optimus Prime. Like, why wouldn't he be Optimus Prime at this point? He has to be. If there's anyone else, it would have been they would have fumbled it. You know? I mean, it makes sense. It makes so much sense for Reinhardt to be the the Optimus Prime of the bunch. Oh yeah, we got a Mystic Gateway, didn't we? Which was over here, but we don't need to do anything with it just yet. Kick this. Then we get back on the balls. Bastion's a bumblebee? Nice. Hell yeah.
The Nords live in a well.
The Well of Earth, their home, is hard to explain. It's in no fixed place. Entrances come and go. A place wholly under their influence, where the intangible becomes tangible. Like being inside your own mind.
But if we go in together, are we in each other's minds? Not so sure I like the sound of that.
I don't blame you there, Mimir.
Mimir, have you encountered these Norns?
Not personally. Freya's right, they have ways of discouraging visitation. Odin made his share of efforts. Wouldn't talk about what he found. Either he gave up, or he wanted to forget what he saw.
Maybe.
Freya, do you mind telling us what you experienced when you sought the Norns last time?
To be honest, the details are hazy. Like waking up from a dream. Mainly, I remember
Ramatra's
nothing
Megatron?
done to change
Nice.
my son's fate, which only made me more determined to try.
Nice. That's cool. I'm guessing every character has a certain
I feel something. In this
a
direction,
certain transformer of some
What
kind.
exactly?
another
I wonder who
illusion.
Starscream is. Oh, is that going to be
The
not Symmetra? Oh, I can't think of a name now. Farah. She wouldn't quite call her Starscream.
I feel the Norn.
It's only 4 characters. Ah, okay.
Are you ready?
Not really. So it's only Reinhardt Reinhardt, Bastion, Ramatra, and then one other. Hilarious RC. Ah, okay.
Nothing. Another dead end.
Maybe they're not dead. But maybe they're not dead ends. I don't know. Ah. What if I don't want to? But what if I don't want it? Oh, hello. Where did you guys come from? Immolation! Wah! Be a little bitch. What's a deer, probably? Deer, lion, deer thing. Nice. One way to kill him. Cross Grandunga? Something. Bonk. Nice.
That's all of them. You know,
Transformer theme remix for the menu seems really cool.
Then we keep looking.
Yeah, I bet.
Wolves then.
I bet it
What's
is.
up here?
I don't feel anything. It's not related to the Norns.
Could be interesting enough in its own right.
What's that outpost?
Oh, it's Sindri.
Expanded my inventory since we last spoke.
Hey, bud.
I'll disinfect my tools.
Oh, yeah, we can upgrade the amulet. Yeah, it's got 3 sockets now. Let's go. We can't upgrade anything just yet. Oh, Consul's Journal.
This must be from Alfheim. Explains the
Ugh.
sand. The elves don't get enough credit for their artisanship.
Can this lock be opened without damaging the book? The elves in Freya's camp wish to read it.
Oh, a locked book, you say? How mysterious. And an elven.
You gonna go to Glasgow tomorrow? Ooh, nice, nice. Anything
If your
anything
friends
special
and
that you're
Ben
looking
want
looking
it,
out
I'll
for?
get it open and pass it along with your regards. They're a lovely couple.
What a lovely couple. Anyway,
I'll heat up the forge.
we need Asgardian ingots, which we don't have.
Heading off already?
Okay, that's fine. Okay, so right, what do we do now? I'm not sure where you'd be finding. That's fair. At least you've got an open mind. At least, you know. Vanaheim's... Oh, I could do Vanaheim's power? Benson luck. Increased damage from all death from above. Successful attacks against enemies will cleanse small amounts of Bifrost from Kratos' health bar. Oh, that's quite good, actually. We'll do that, I think. Oh, that reminds me, actually. I didn't show this off yesterday. I bought some stuff over the weekend. I bought me some games. I forgot to even show this off over the, yesterday. So I got a PS2 game from Gun, which is like a bit like Red Dead Redemption, but I think it was before Red Dead Revolver, and it's not as good. But I remember playing this game a lot as a kid. And it was made by Activision, of all people. And Neversoft, who did the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater games. So yeah, that was a purchase. I also have I think we're gonna be doing some shooters soon with like Gears of War, and I also got the Halo killer, that Killzone. I got Killzone 2 and 3, which were very cheap. I do also have Killzone 1 on the way. That's a PS2 title, so we'll be trying that out. The only Killzone game I've played was 2, and I don't think I might have finished it. I'm not too sure.
You won't believe it, Mimir. This crest belongs to Fjotorlund.
Fjotorlund, you say? Now that's where Sigrun was from.
Oh, Sigrun's curse. What would a cake baked in Asgard be covered in? Bifrosting. Oh, Jesus Christ. Nice.
Another crane.
But yeah, so I got some. Yeah, I think after. All depends on. I think we're gonna try and play some. I thought because we haven't played like a proper. Well, we haven't really played a proper shooter since Halo. I guess is probably our closest bet with shooter games. So it'd be nice to play. It'd be nice to do some kills. Killzone and Gears of War.
Another sleeping troll, courtesy of the dwarves.
That was a good one, to be fair. I will admit that was good. But yeah, I think that's the plan. Obviously, all depending on time and whatnot. With Killzone, you can now experience the early Guerrilla games. That is true. Yeah, because that's Horizon, isn't it? Guerrilla Studios.
To join the Valkyries.
If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I thought so. I recognize because I recognize the. I remember the emblem, their logo. Do you mind? I'm trying. Oh, I'm frosted because I'm slow. Oh, it's level 5. Oh, it's a bit of an upgrade. Huh? But yeah, I look forward to doing that. Play some more PS2. Mix up a little bit because we haven't played a shooter game or a first-person shooter or a cover shooter in a little while. So yes, I think didn't that come out on Vita, or was that didn't that come out on the Vita, or was that PlayStation 4 as well? PS4. Okay. Well, I could probably play that on the PS5, so that's not too much of an issue.
Enemy behind you, Kratos!
Behind you, Kratos. Oh god, I'm about to die. I just realised. Bonk. Sha. Yeah, because that was the last one they did, didn't it? Of Killzone, was Shadowfall. Yeah, should be good. Be good fun, I'd imagine. Hey, it's been a minute since I've played a game that I've just done mindless killing. You know what I mean? I suppose Doom is probably the closest one to that. First person shooter, actually, thinking about it. Doom. It's Doom Eternal. I am grand, Mimir. I've missed other stuff though, so I don't want to go too far ahead. Oh, I know what I gotta do. Oink. Guerrilla Games are very much known for developing games set in the future. Yeah. From what I played, from what I remember of Killzone 2, it was very much like Halo, where it's like in the future. Well, not like Halo, but like it's set in the future, and it's like, you know, humans against an alien enemy of some sort. I use that to swing down. Oh, wait. I just realized. Wait, no. What? I can jump down here. I didn't go down here.
Roll out, brother!
Aha. Where? Please. That would be nice.
A musical instrument from your homeland, isn't
A
it?
lute.
Can you play?
Yes.
Oh, it's a lyre.
Yeah.
Is it it's a lyre, isn't
Where
it?
have we seen an artifact like that before?
Tears vault.
Even the Horizon games set are based in the future. Like, obviously a different concept, but yeah. Okay, so I could technically now I could do this. And then drop back down. This chest, and then grab that just over there. But yeah, like I said, I'm really done a prop. You know, oh, I've done it too high. Fuck's sake! Like, I think, well, if I'm not mistaken, Killzone is a first-person shooter, and then Gears of War is more third-person. So. No, wrong way, Kratos. But yeah, we'll see how we are after we're done with Horizon Forbidden West. In terms of, like, you know, time and whatnot, and you know, if we've got, I'm hoping we've got plenty of time before spooky season, so we can play other games. Whatnot. Aha! Okay. What's the early plans for Halloween? So it's gonna be Resident Evil 4 remake, Dead Space remake, Dark Anthology Pictures Little Hope, Little Nightmares 2. I don't think what else that I've got installed ready. If it's still on Game Pass, we can do Hellblade 2. That'd be quite cool to do, actually. Senua's Hellblade 2. That'd be quite nice. And I'm thinking for one of the last ones, one of the last games. I know it's not really Halloween-y, but it's kind of gothic style. I was thinking of pulling the PlayStation 2 back out and playing Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver.
You know, brother, Sigrun told me her kingdom housed a great treasury filled with the spoils of her
But
father's
then
conquests.
Sonic Generations and Shadow episode Shadow is coming out
They were.
middle of October,
Just that they
so
kept it hidden.
yeah. I think once we're done with Spooky Season, that's going to be the first game we play is Sonic Generations, because I really want to play that game, like bad. Like really, really bad. Like, you know, not even bother doing Spooky Season just to play that game. I think it's like October 20th it's coming out, something like that. I think is roughly time frame. Ah, okay, clever. No. And then you do this, you pull it back up. Hey, look at me go. Yes, thank you, Freya. I have a brain. That's nice to know. Yeah. A bit like I like how I did with Kudelka. I know that's more of a horror game because it's but kind of just make it like turn it more retro by the end of it, you know?
Shed some light.
Start more modern and then turn more to a retro
She never mentioned.
as we go, sort of thing. Ooh. No. Okay. Oh.
Is that
Oh, okay. Staggering area of effect. No, I prefer Mists of Helheim, I think.
a key?
Could be. Oh, is that one of the two keys for a door?
Wonder what lock that key belongs to.
Jotunland.
It is broken.
Not broken. It's just split in half. Perhaps we could find its partner.
Sigrun's Curse. Next year's Silent Hill, right? Oh yes, Silent Hill 2 remake. Ooh, because when is that? That's coming out this October, right? Right? Do I play that as well? I don't want to play it on the day of launch, just in case it's like buggy as fuck. I mean, it shouldn't be, but you never know. Well, not shouldn't be, but you never know with games nowadays. What is a new Resident Evil is getting made? Scary's gonna be the main focus on it. Yeah, I heard Capcom did a panel about like a mobile game of Resident Evil, and basically the guy just, I think the series director or whoever it was, just flat out said, "Yeah, we're making a new Resident Evil, by the way." And it was like, "Oh, okay." He just flat out just went, "Yeah, we're making a new Resident Evil." It's like, "Oh, okay." You're not gonna like announce it in some cool way, or no, they're just like, "Yeah, we'll just make another one. We're making another one."
What now?
Just things, innit? I thought that's how it was perceived on the internet. If I track that. Oh, so it's telling me to. Oh, it's telling me to go all the way over there. King's Grave. out of here.
Mimir, what did those runes say?
Secret. She loved another. A king named Helgi. Seems they were madly in love. But her parents wouldn't let them marry.
Oh, come, Mimir. You really didn't think you were her first love, did you?
Aye. Suppose I did.
Shame about Tyr's vault. I'll take whatever you manage to salvage from it, though. If I don't have it, you don't need it. That ought to hurt him.
Okay, so if I get another 4 honed metal, make that level 5, that would actually be better than... It'd be the same defense, and I'd have vitality instead of runic, which would be
Now,
better in my
is there something
understanding.
else?
Oh, I can sell stuff. Hang on. Ooh, oh yeah, loot.
Ooh, a souvenir
Or
from
liar.
foreign lands.
No, it's good that we did that though. Actually. It was good that we did that little cycle, or started it at least.
The wolves have picked up another trail. Keep following their heads.
Roger, Roger.
Brother, what of your story? You faced the fates of your homeland, yeah? The legends I heard about the ghost of Sparta were surely exaggerated.
Exaggerated.
Oh, not in the brazen bloodshed righteous fury part. The part where it said you travelled back in time itself to win a battle once lost. It's strange credulity, obviously. I mean, a rumour about Thor knocking the world serpent back in history from Ragnarok is one thing.
Hold. The wolves are distracted.
Ah, that's probably what they were distracted by, was the raider fort. Ah, I'm going to die. That was wank.
Can't do this.
Yeah, I know. I didn't have much health. It's my bad. My bad.
Behind you, watch out!
Oh, got him.
Fire behind you!
Enemies behind you.
I was very close to dying. Oh god, you got explosions. Explosions!
Raider on the left!
Oh, well, how many of you are there? Wonk.
From above!
Oh, hello. Oh, you
You're on fire, Kratos!
Come on, Kratos.
bitch. I know they're level 5, so they're like slightly more difficult than perceived, but no.
Watch your left!
Oh, of course. Oh, fuck, I'm on fire like crazy here.
Enemy behind you, Kratos!
Left side, brother!
How do you? Oh, bitch.
Suspect that's all of them.
These were cold,
King's gift.
empty.
Eating wolves. Atreus and I rescued ours from such an encampment.
That was kind of you. The Coal Raiders have been a blight on this land. The way they've abused its
Ooh, a luminous
creatures.
alloy. Thank you.
Perhaps we should do something.
Perhaps.
Ooh,
If the Norns know the future, no doubt they'll expect us to show up.
animal
eventually.
instincts. Coal Raider camps eliminated. 1 of 4. Oh, okay. Eesh. What do I get? Amulet enchantment. Crackle of Blisk. What the fuck is that? There's an animal. There's a stronghold there. There's a keep there. Another one there. They're everywhere, huh?
As I was saying, tales of time travel always strain credulity.
It is the truth. The threads of fate span all life and time. The Sisters of Fate abused their power. When I challenged them, they threatened to undo my existence. So I killed them and turned their power on Zeus.
Just.
That's the most dangerous and irresponsible thing I've ever heard. These
I know,
Norns
right?
have
Crazy.
such magic, nor does anyone in these realms that I've ever seen.
Aye, can you imagine? If it existed, Odin would have it. And if Odin had it, we'd be 5 shades more fucked than we are already.
There's a place here.
I like that, Mamiya. We have 5 shades more fucked than we already need to be.
This way.
I like that. That's 2. Okay, where's the 3rd then? In Kratos' defense, he did that in self-defense. I mean, when you get threatened of existence, you know, of your existence being undone, you know, that's probably that's probably the only way you could probably react is by, you know what?
Can you cut a way through the ice?
I'm just gonna murder
Oh,
you.
the Norns making
No.
magical ice walls now.
No. I think the water just froze.
That's funny. Oh, are they making magical ice walls now? Precious like, no, I think it's just the water because it's cold. Oh, right. Yeah, I knew that. You know. How do I get there? Oh, the chest is down there. Hold on. Didn't even see it. Please be health. Health? Let's go. Oh. Oh, okay. Never mind. 1 of 4.
Up there.
Yeah, I know, Freya. I was just grabbing. You're gonna be playing as a hero that you recently understood. Oh yeah, who would that be?
your friends.
I didn't tell them to be here.
Oh, ow, ow, ow. Can I just... Yeah, thank you. Honk. I'm just... Fuck, Kratos is just going to town. He is just going to town.
I don't know what the Norns did to trick all these raiders into guarding them. Not that they have any idea that's what they're doing.
Oh, Widowmaker. Ooh. Now you're in my sight. She's gonna be sniping? Ooh, nice.
Thank you for your help. I know this was not your focus.
The sooner we find your son, the sooner you'll be able to focus. I just hope it works.
Just the same. Thank you.
A fine sentiment, but write on a bloody note when we're out of the cold, brother.
Yeah, we are freezing to death. Like you. What? I'm hearing murmuring. Hello? Hello?
Brother, this way seems like a way out, not a way in.
I concur. The Norns are further up.
Yeah, I was just exploring. Jesus, calm down. Gloria a las plagas. Gloria a las plagas. Oh, no, we're not doing that? Oh, okay. Wrong game. Wrong game. Wrong franchise. No, don't drink your own blood, please. Thank you very much. Mind, I'm trying to kill your friend here. Snapped his neck. Oh.
Okay. I feel something. It's stronger this time.
Oh yeah.
Over here.
You feel something stronger. Ooh.
Open up.
Not like it. Doesn't look like a dead end to me.
Isn't it always the third place you look?
Yeah. Breaking the fourth wall there. Isn't it always the third place you look?
Is everyone hearing that creepy whisper?
It is like an itch in the mind.
It means we've stepped into their domain. Be ready for anything.
Illusions.
Projections, possibly. But assume nothing. There's no telling what manner of creature they've made unwitting guards.
Delightful.
Isn't it just, Miriam? Isn't it just? Wee! Wee! Hi.
Kratos, Ghost of Sparta,
Oh, hi.
Bane of Olympus,
Yeah, that's me.
Destroyer of Fate,
Yeah.
Cruel Striker, Bringer of War, Weapon of the Gods, turned against his creators.
I mean,
Traces of
you are correct in your statement there.
he cannot
I mean, you say that. Are you like an Asgardian champion? Oh, okay. You hit like an absolute piece of shit. That's what you do. Okay. No, don't do that. That's not very nice. Oh yeah, your armor's gone. Punch. Punch. Oh yeah, all of that. Your head, chest,
In
neck.
our own minds yet. He certainly seems real enough.
Yep.
I hate to tell you, the parts in your mind will be real too.
That was a clean kill. Clean decapitation of the head and upper chest. I mean,
He was guarding that way outside.
makes sense because you know, Kratos is a big strong boy. Well, strong man, right? Oh, light elves? Oh, are they dark elves? I'm not sure. Oh, nice. And there goes your head.
This place almost looks familiar, but different. Like a confused memory.
A rather hostile memory at that.
These fates should know I will not be deterred.
Yeah, Kratos is a man you shouldn't be trifling with. Dear. Symbol of his wife. Not. Oh, lots of dead wolves. Things.
Freya of the Vanir,
Oh,
master of
oh. Yes. I mean, she is the she's the Valkyrie Queen. Mm-hmm.
Frigg of Asgard, destroyer of all she would hope to protect. She always finds somebody to blame. She cannot change.
I love how they end every little sequence is with, you know, X person cannot change. They cannot change. He cannot change. She cannot change. You know? Oh, batter up. Batter up, motherfucker. There goes your head. Oh, your chest. Nice. I'm waiting for them to like talk about Mimir now. There you go, Mimir the Aesir.
Here we go.
Ah, here we go.
Merry wanderer of the woods, Robin of the good fellows.
Let me guess. I'm a long-winded know-it-all and I cannot change? See? You forgot smartest man alive.
Bye. Ow, please. Don't kill me. I do not wish to die. Not today. Yep, you're dead. You're dead. El Revenant. He's like, I'm a know-it-all, and I can't change. Right? That's what you're gonna say.
Well, certainly clinks like genuine hack silver. I suppose there's one small consolation to this ordeal. At least we won't have to introduce ourselves.
Don't credit your reputation, Mimir. They see the whole lives of any who approach them.
Good and the bad. Oh, hello.
What is that?
A phantom! Rogue magic! Aim for the runic core!
Bloody hell, look at that thing!
Bloody hell, look at that thing.
It's vulnerable when it glows!
I can see that.
Nicely done! Keep on it!
Now, attack!
Need help. Need help.
Take it off, man! You
I'm fine. I'm fine.
Weaken! It's done!
Ow. Oh, you gotta break the pillars. Makes sense. Shit. I'm probably going to die to this.
Now, attack!
Save yourself an opening! Don't waste it!
Oh god.
Yelpa!
Oh, my eyes. My eyes. I don't think I've blinked in about 5 minutes. No. Shit. Health.
Need to take out those springs, brother!
It's over! Time to put it down!
Nice. Well done, Kratos. I did that with very, very low health. I'm quite proud of myself, actually.
Another gift of Fimbulwinter, I suppose.
The magic draining out of all of us
GG.
has to end up somewhere.
Whew, that was intense. How I didn't die there, I don't know, but... Sheer will and determination, I guess. Chaos Flame. Oh, yes, let's go. I can upgrade the Blade of Chaos. One with the Jewel of Yggdrasil. Let's go. I think I have four enchantments on it
North is
now.
somewhere in that cave just ahead.
I need health. I need health. I need health. Thank you. Oh god, yes, thank you. I'd like to open the chest, please. Chom, chom.
There's that itchy sound again. Normally, I don't mind ladies whispering in my ear, but this is positively irksome.
Anyone ever tell you that you babble when you're terrified?
Terrified? I'll have you know I'm at the very most deeply apprehensive. And breaking tension with humor is the sacred duty of a traveling companion. How very dare you? Babbling.
He is shitting himself. Quite literally. Babbling, how dare you? How dare you say to me I'm babbling? That's funny.
A door.
Oh, that looks official.
Very official.
My boy.
Oh shit.
Baldur, listen to me, please.
Uh-oh.
Stop! Why did you bring him here? You are not welcome here!
Wait! Baldur, come back! Talk to me!
I am so sick of your constant meddling! What you did to me! What you did to me!
Oh, he's not happy about that, huh? Yeah, they did. It's our ear toxin, isn't it? Equivalent kicking in. It's Frigg, not Freya.
Nobody harms my boy! But me!
Oh shit.
Freya!
Brother, over here. Come get me. I want none of this.
Oh fuck, he's at the tree again.
Secret? Brother, hold off.
Why did you never turn on Odin?
But I did. I tried to stop him any way I could.
You served Odin from the day you met to the day he put you in that tree!
Oh shit.
Sought favor. You wanted his sword. You wanted him to treat
I mean,
everyone and everything. And you never gave a damn until you turned on.
I know, Secret. It's true. All of it. But for love of you, I became a better man. A counselor for peace. An ally to all those who...
Were you an ally to Freya in the suffering? To Skadi? To Groa? Or to Tanya? No! You always took the side of the powerful men who used
Brother, watch out. There's more of them.
even now. You see a violent god in need and you can't help but aid him and call him brother. It's who you've always been,
oh hi.
who you are. And it's who
It is not her.
No. Of course. You did what you must. Brother, the tree! It's pulling me in!
Mimir!
Brother, help me! Monster!
Atreus! I am coming!
Oh Jesus, I'm getting fucking suplexed.
Why didn't you trust your own son? Don't let him take me!
Atreus!
Uh-oh. It's about to get weird.
You see him the way he wants to be seen. He's a murderer!
Ow. Fucking Bifrost, dude.
And now he's mine. He killed his own family!
Atreus! I am here!
He's a bad god.
Oh, Father, help me! He's a monster!
it's over. Did we pass the test?
Didn't feel much like succeeding.
I see the door has disappeared.
Or it was never there.
They toy with us still.
Mmm.
What is that?
A kelpie. Don't see many of those in these parts.
She must be theirs.
Will she take us to them?
I'll ask her. Nicely. Easy, girl. Easy. That's right. Good.
Care to talk about whatever the Norns put you through?
No.
Yeah, it's just like, nah, fam.
Get on.
That's a good lass. Lovely creatures, but temperamental by reputation. In my land, they'd keep children away from the lost by telling them a kelpie would drown them. Of course, no kelpie I know would do such a thing. Unless it was disrespected.
It walks on water.
Aye. No mystical water steeds to speak of in Greece, brother?
Kelpies from Scottish mythology? Was it really?
People camps. They serve the sea god. I battled one upon a titan.
That might not be her favorite subject.
Oh shit. Now we're underwater. Hold your breath. Whoa. Okay. Huh. Ahead.
We're here.
Fate's
Pretty
own
though.
hideaway. Never doubted we'd make it.
LP's pretty cool though. Oh, ads. Okay, we'll stop it here a moment. And you'll save while we're at it. Manual shave. Yeah, just 3 minutes of ads, so bear with us. We'll be right back in a moment. Just chill here a minute while we Ooh. I'm just checking the football because it's on. Moment. Oh. Shit. Oh, what a goal. Put on balls, exactly. It is the Euros. Watching the semi-final. It's on right now. What a goal. Absolutely no right to score from there. Oh, oh, oh. That guy's 16. He fucking scores a willy. Outrageous. Sorry. There we go. Cool. Right. Ads are done. So just bear with me 2 seconds. Just going to check something. That's me. Oh, we'll be right back, folks. Just give me a moment. Oof. Big oof. All right. Hey. Welcome back to the everybody. Time to enter the fate of the Norns. What, the fate of the Norns? The area of the Norns. Oh, why is the... Okay, yep. The fucking video capture's just stopped. Cool. That's cool. Just froze on me. Of course it did. I wonder why the music stopped. There we go. We're back.
Kratos, Freya, and Mimir's head. Enter the home of the Norns. Tentatively.
Of course. Why would it be just like rushing in like a madman?
They have finally reached their destination.
Mm-hmm.
Kratos speaks first.
I seek my son.
You know the child is an Asgard. No, you seek what all who search for us seek.
Oh, they're like the Major
Know the
Sisters.
ending to your story.
Wow. Good.
The ghost of Sparta furrows his brow
Verdant.
menacingly. He
Wow.
resists the urge to grunt. Oh, he fails. You come to us, piteous archetypes, seeking freedom from your scripts, as if knowing your lines would grant you the power to rewrite them.
Speak plain.
You will die, Kratos of Sparta.
But you called him the destroyer of fate. There must be a way to subvert destiny.
There is no destiny, Puck. The protagonists are speechless. They do not understand. There is no grand design, no script. Only the choices you make.
Mm.
But your choices are so predictable. Merely make us seem prescient. When my son was born, shut up!
I fucking love skulls. She's just mimicking what they're saying.
Your prophecy said he would die a needless death, and he did. Because you could not let him go. Because he thirsted for revenge. And because you kill gods.
Yeah.
But what Kratos did, it was not out of hate. Should I bring him a crown then? He still slays gods, but now he's sad about it? You are the sum of your choices, nothing more. And because your choices never change, you will learn that Heimdall intends to kill your son in Asgard, and you will do what you do best. And then Ragnarok. The skies burn.
Oh, so we kill Heimdall.
Exeunt.
Guess in fight.
Heimdall.
Again, he misses the point. Focusing on the second act to the exclusion of the final. A common mistake in storycraft.
We are leaving.
He stomps away, followed closely by Freya. I enjoyed your story, Kratos. Pity it has to end so soon.
Ooh. I mean, if you have one, I mean, right?
Well, that was educational.
So the only thing he learned, so the only thing that we learned is that I'm guessing we attempt to go to Asgard. That's what they're saying, that we attempt to go to Asgard and we fight Heimdall. Kill him. Save Atreus.
Leave this place.
Happily.
And then Ragnarok starts, basically. There's no fate but what we make. Exactly. Like they said, the fate is only the choices that you choose. And obviously, like they said, because their choices are so predictable that they can see.
That tree.
Well, isn't that interesting?
What is this?
That's the noose, brother. The one Odin hanged himself with. As part of his endless, mad quest for secrets of life and death and what have you.
What are you doing?
It's a charged object, significant to Odin. Perhaps I'll find a use for it.
Brother, what they said about the boy?
Will not happen.
Oh, I agree.
It will not happen. We will not let it.
Of course we bloody won't. The question is how. You wouldn't seriously consider killing Heimdall, would you?
I will do what I must.
Oh, is that all?
You're wrong to dissuade him, Mimir. You know Heimdall.
I grant you that he's a spiteful, vicious little shit.
And so loyal, Odin entrusted him with Gjallarhorn. If we have the chance to eliminate him before Ragnarok, we shouldn't hesitate.
Considering his powers of foresight alone, that is an if of mountainous size.
Yeah, because he can foresee us. You'll be able to foresee us coming and our attacks. There's probably a weakness to his game, I would imagine. Now my hands are all slippery. Oh god, yeah, my control's really sweaty. And that chocolate bit. Yeesh.
Even supposing we're all perfectly comfortable plotting an assassination, and I, for one, am a mite rusty at that measure, we've got no way to reach Heimdall, and no way to kill him if we did.
I have killed gods greater than him.
I don't doubt that, brother, but it's hardly my point.
We know Kratos has killed bigger gods than him, but I think it's his skill and what he is the god of. Probably what I think what Mimir is trying to say.
Up there.
Oh, there you go.
That's the wrong way up if you want to get out of here.
Oh, that takes you back to... Yeah, that takes you back there, doesn't it?
Look, I think we're missing the Norn's message here. We've all got our tendencies, and yours is to run headlong into danger to protect the ones you love.
I do not intend to change. Not about that.
Why should you? Apparently my tendency is to kill the ones I love.
Freya,
I don't need you to comfort me. Either of you.
Their accusation was cruel. None of us believe.
The truth can be a cruel thing. Anyone care to argue with that?
No. I guess that.
Baldur's fate had many causes. Prophecy among them.
How do you mean, brother?
There are many tales in my homeland of those who fulfilled prophecy by attempting to avoid it. So it was when Freya tried to protect Baldur. And so it was when I accused my son of going to Asgard.
Then we agree. It'd be foolish to go after Heimdall.
No. If Heimdall must die for Atreus to live, then Heimdall must die.
How can you say that, knowing what you know?
Because if Heimdall is a threat to my son, I must act. It is my...
Your nature. Well played, Norns.
Not wrong. You do anything to protect what you love. Any cost. If it is your life. Okay, so it's asking us to go back to the Mystic Gateway now. Then we're going to go over here and find the other half of the key. I think that's what we're going to do.
So to be clear, finding the Norns is not about altering events.
Let us find a gateway. Return home. Consider our plans.
Return to Sindri's when ready.
Before you make any hasty decisions, why don't you blow off a little steam? I'm sure there was some loose end we meant to circle back to. Give your mind a little time to process everything.
I suspect there's unfinished business here at the lake, though I'm certainly happy to spend time somewhere other than Midgard.
It's your choice, brother.
Yep, okay, that's level 4.
Always
Thank you
enjoy
very
to work
much.
on these.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And Guardian Shield I can get up 5.
May it strike true. Cool. Their deaths will be painless-ish. Want something in particular?
Ooh, okay. Level 5 stuff, nice. Ooh, I lose vitality though. Get more strength though. But I do lose 36 vitality. I think, well, Marnie's Braces of Wisdom is quite good actually, because it gives you increase the duration of all status effects applied to enemies. That's quite good actually. I know, just
Wear it with pride. Huh. That might be my best piece yet today.
Very good.
the socket of Yggdrasil done. Okay.
Whatever you need, I'll create. Sure, this'll be of some use. Now, where'd you find this? Have we more to talk about?
How would Atreus get to Asgard?
I'm sorry, but you'd have to ask Odin. He's got control of every path. I know how highly you esteem our expertise on such things, so I'm sure that's disappointing. He's just been one step ahead of us.
Hmm.
Well, if you change your mind...
Okay. Right. Let's do some side stuff. I might do the bandit camps as well while we're here. Well, that's the point, actually. Cooldown. Svartalheim's honor. In Svartalheim's safety is quite good, actually. Right. Look at that. Strength and defense. Nice. Level 4. Freya adds more specialized abilities to her ranged attacks. Freya gains an additional runic arrow. Ooh, okay. That. Oh, yeah, we got some new stuff, haven't we? The fire wave created by a fully charged Scorch Sweep is stronger and extends further. It increases the blast radius of a blazing explosion. Bloom of Chaos. Yeah, do that. Look at that, we're nearly maxed out on pretty much everything at this point. But Kratos, anyway. Line, yeah. Awesome.
To be clear, finding the Nords is not about altering events, yeah?
I would not ask them to change the past, even if they could. I only want information.
And that's quite dangerous enough, in my experience.
What's that? Fit for a king. Oh. Oh! Oh, Berserker Souls? Okay. Whoa. Okay. Wonder what level she. Well, I'm about to die. Whoa. I mean, Ow. Oh.
Kratos, we need you.
I mean, I did a little bit of damage. You know? Okay. That's like end.
Gravestone.
That's gonna be like end game, isn't it? I'm guessing. Berserk Gravestone, Nick the 9. I would try it again, but probably not. We'll leave that for now.
The oarsmen. A monument of conquerors.
Made some lovely warships, though.
Yeah, I think I remember Jill doing some of the Berserker Souls, and I was like, whoa, they are tough. Oh yeah, this bit when with Sindri and when he was with Sindri of the Atreus. This. When he stuck away and tried to find Freya. What level are you? 5. No. Oh my god, stop. Level 5 isn't too bad. We're like midway through level 4. Oh, you fucking little bitch. Oh my god, wow. Okay. Maybe I should stick with the Blades of Chaos. I move.
On your guard, Kratos.
Yeah, alright. Oh. You know, killing 2 of them is fine. It's just this fucking last guy's an absolute prick. Oh, he did it again, dude. I can do this one. It's level 5. It's just I remember having problems with these dark elves fucking in the first game. They were a pain in the ass. Stop fucking blinding me.
Take it off, man. You've got this.
Incoming back here.
2 of them gone. You can't do a fucking combo on him because he drops that fucking thing on the ground. Pisses me off. fucking die, please. Jesus. Thank you. See, wasn't too bad, huh? Not too bad. Spartanheim here. Imagine. Hey. Okay, so I'll go over this way now. Yes, I do. Right? Unless I can't go. Oh no. I can go through the roots here. I could go into there instead. Possibly explore where Atreus was. Have you tried finding Freya? Oh, what's a big boy?
Use your shield! That's frost in my neck stomach.
Oh my god, stop! Please. Fetch. Oh, there you go. Nice.
It's almost all the good.
Well, we can't go that way anyway. Oh, treasure though. Oh, okay. Look at that.
Look, there's some debris over there. I'm guessing from Tyr's poor statue.
Waistguard of guiding light. Ooh. Okay, so I didn't really have to buy that, but it's fine. Whatever, I guess. Probably sell it, I suppose.
Iron peace, not a golden war.
Tyr used to talk about how heavy the cost of war was compared to its bounties. He felt like it was his responsibility to avoid it.
Kind of still does, in fact.
I'm getting so many little like side quests and stuff.
Mimir.
Crazy.
Another Fjotalund marking.
Aye, this place must have been part of Sigrun's kingdom. A first outpost preceding further expansion.
Well, I found a Mystic Gateway at least. Yeah, just warming myself up. It's all good.
Incoming back here!
Oh, you little fucking.
From behind! Incoming!
I. Oh god. Tap, tap, tap. I think we're done.
All these bones.
Hey, Ethereum, how you doing, buddy? How are you? Hope you're well, buddy. So where's the 3? Oh.
Must be another way around. Looks like there's a staircase on the other side.
Yeah, crazy. Let's go all the way. We must have to go all the way around and then unlock that chest. Hope you're well though, Ethereum. How you keeping? Hope the Mass Effect streams have been good. Oh, did you have that card tournament as well? How did that go? You went with your friend. Ooh. Fucking hell, that was close. Oh, hello. Oh, it's you! It's enemy that you fight. Ah. How can you... I'd love to. I'd love to, but I'm about to die. Oh, you fucking bitch. Ah. Whoa, okay. Yep. Clearly pissed off. Oh, yeah, don't grab me, please. Whoa. Okay. Onda esta. Sounds Mexican. Bonk. Can we? You just please die. Thank you. Oh my god. Yeah, bow straight to the chest. Nice.
Sad to see Seagram's homeland in such a terrible state.
You know, Maria,
I'm okay, but annoyed at as Minta's been playing up something fierce, and I had planned it, and I had planned to stream, but it keeps dropping below 5 meg. Oof.
There are worse things to discover about someone you love.
yes, there's certainly.
That's annoying. That's really annoying. Sorry to hear about the internet issues. Is it like still happening now, or is it just like every now and then it just randomly does it sort of thing? What provider are you with? Don't mind me asking. Yeah, the tournament went well. You came second. And your friends came third and fourth? Wow, fucking hell yeah. GG's. Out of 72 people, that's amazing. Let's go. Pro card gameplay over here. Let's go. I'd love to see that. Okay.
There it is. The other staircase.
Ah.
They're ethereal! Perhaps my arrow!
Sorry, yeah, I forgot about your arrows.
Alka!
I forget you can shoot bows. Good arrow. Nice. And what do we get? Ooh, Jewel of Yggdrasil.
Those runes can give us
That
a
was
bit of history about
worth
this
it.
place.
Yeah, still happening, and it started on Friday.
It is.
Oh, you're Vodafone. Oh, that's what I'm with. Vodafone. Yeah, Vodafone have been touched with. Have been amazing for me. They've not been very reliable. Is it a fiber connection you got?
Look, the other half of the key.
Found it.
I knew those key pieces would fit. Can't wait to see what lock it belongs to.
Yeah, full fiber connection. Oh, that's what. Yeah, that's what I've got. Full fiber. Strange. Very strange indeed. Okay, let's. Really, I wasn't quick enough? Okay, so the C I can do first. I can definitely do that one first. Missed. Shit. Really? Bro, like... Hey, I still good to see you, buddy. I thought your title was Dad or Die. I mean... Imagine. Oh, I did it. I think I did it. Okay, I just had to do it really, really quickly. Painful. Fucking hell. Shadow Die sounds like an interesting game too. It is actually, to be fair. You're not wrong. How you keeping? Good to see you. Been a while. How you keeping? Yeah, I think that's weird, I think, because I got full fiber in my house, and connection in my house, and I think it's I say it's very rarely dropped, or but then the speeds are quite high, so then yeah, I don't. I think I'd notice if it dropped to like 5 meg. I think I would notice. Guiding light. Oh, is that the Berserker Shrine stuff? Oh no, it's the rune. Invented the wreckage of Tyr's statue. Right. Been busy a lot. Been doing. Oh, you're doing a course at the moment. Have you been? Oh yeah, I've been good. I can't complain.
Only her brother, Prince Dogger, survived to kill the Mad King.
Sigrun and her brother had issues over that.
And all the time Sigrun and I spent with each other, she never mentioned anything about this.
Maybe she liked the way you saw her.
But I hope the course has been going all right. And say, no worries. You've been busy with life stuff. But I hope the course is going okay. Not too stressful or anything. Oh wait, no. I need to go through here, don't I? Because get around from town to town. Yeah, this is the first time it's happened since having the upgrade. Oh, strange. When did you have the upgrade? Don't mind me asking. Looks like that looks like a mystical gateway, actually. Yeah, it's going good. We lost about 10 people on the course, but by the second day... Oh, what course are you doing? If you don't mind me asking. Force you to lose 10 people. Let me guess, this is gonna be like level fucking 10. Ready? Oh, no. Nothing amazing. It's a cybersecurity and IT course. Ooh, nice, nice. Nice. I should probably do something like that. In my line of work. It's only like 4 weeks, I thought, screw it, let's do it. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, yeah, if it's a 4-week course, then... I mean, not too long. Not too long at all, actually. Bit of a bargain there. Ah, okay, that's a shortcut back. Okay. February this year you got the upgrade? Ah, okay. I think that's around the same time as me, actually. Thinking about it. I think I had my upgrade. I think it was February. I think it might have been January, February this year, or last year, maybe. No. I've had the full fiber for a couple of years now, but I upgraded the speeds this year. That's it. Yeah, that's what I did. It'd been 2 years since it'd been 2, so it'd be. I've had full fiber for 2 years now, and yeah, and then I had it like certain speeds now. And then I've upped the speed, download speed now this year. It was like the same price basically. I was like, oh, okay. Okay, so we got the lost treasury to bring up. Oh, that's got a base of members is maxed out. It increases resistance to damage and being staggered during the skill. Yeah. You want it?
Kratos, tell me more of your homeland.
It was violent and cruel.
Sounds no different from these lands.
It was warmer.
That must be Tyr's helmet from his statue.
Indeed.
Win mines, not wars.
Tyr understood the greatest fight of them all was the battle for people's hearts and minds. Too bad Tyr has no interest in doing either these days.
Another one over here. There's another one there. Mary only got the option 4 but towards the end of last year, otherwise I got it sooner. I think the reason I got mine earlier was because there was like a government grant going around for having full fiber in my area, and enough people signed up to it to get it, so that we got it basically.
Who?
Thor, the son of Thormur, the stonemason, who disguised himself and built Asgard's wall.
Hold! What is that?
Isn't that the spear from Tyr's statue?
Wish for peace. Be ready for war.
Oh, that's astute of the elf. Tyr never sought war, but he knew he had to be ready for it.
Aye, best be armed than not.
Exactly.
Impressive looking weapon, isn't it?
It is big.
It is big. Thanks, vitality and luck. Ooh, wow. Okay, so the last one is then... Yeah. Yeah, that's where Kratos fought Thor. Thor. Yeah, same thing for me too. As by next year, they would have forced full fiber,
Freya,
but it wouldn't be as a free upgrade.
anything about what Hrimthur the stonemason's son said to you after building Asgard's wall?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it was like a voucher thing I had to redeem, and then once it was in, I had to like basically take out a contract of
that was the worst of his husbandly habits.
What wager?
I've told this story, brother.
And now she may tell her own.
There isn't that much to tell. I knew nothing of it at first, surely because Odin didn't expect to lose the bet.
Wait! Do you see?
Look, there's some debris over there. I'm guessing from Tyr's
yeah, and then
voice.
like it was like through the council and stuff, and it was like, oh, there we go, and then just kind of
Defend the peace.
happened from there.
Well,
I think
that's
the
last.
only thing that was
We'll
free
find any
was
more interesting bits.
like the actual work for like OpenReach to
Where I
make the connection to get the fiber connection to the actual house.
way.
Not all gods of war are the same.
That makes sense. Gauntlets of Guiding Light. Ooh, nice.
No, they are not.
Oh wait, I can. Oh wait, I can repair. I can repair the amulet.
Norns have any good news for you?
No.
Ah, maybe buying something expensive will take your mind off it?
Maybe.
At your service. What can I make for you?
Nice. 5 sockets now.
Till we meet again.
So I can put that one. I can actually put that Remedy of the Bifrost back on, actually. Yeah. Okay. We've done the Raider Fort. Right, let's finish this off. The Sigrun's curse. Finish this off. Vodafone themselves contacted me and sorted it all out, so I didn't have to bother with that. Only had to have Substreet Internet Company install it.
That's where you landed.
Yeah, a bit different than to how I had it then. Slightly different to how I had it. Yeah, it was like a government voucher thing, and enough people in the area redeemed it so that we could get it. And then I redeemed it, and then it was like, oh, but I think I waited like 6 months, and it was like nothing happened. And I was like, okay, why is nothing happening? And then I kind of chased up, and they were like, oh yeah, we're coming round soon. And it's like, okay, and they came round and they actually did the install.
Hang on, brother. That building.
How strange. I've never seen that building before.
Aye. Very strange indeed. Let's take a closer
And then, yeah, OpenReach came out basically. Did the actual fiber installation. And then somebody from, it wasn't Vodafone, it was, oh, I can never, MJ Quinley was called the company. They normally do like full fiber installations, and they came round and basically plugged me, like connected me up to the internet. Just cool.
Wait. The shield that's blocking the entrance. It looks exactly like the one from Tyr's statue.
It's another piece of Tyr's likeness sent flying across the lake. Ended up lodged right into this building, apparently. All this must have been hidden behind the ice until that shield smashed through it.
What are the odds, eh? What are the odds? I need to think of this. Where am I?
Doesn't look like you can brute force it.
Hold on. That's one. I'm sure I saw another somewhere. Hold on. There's a couple of these dotted around. Well, obviously there's 3, but I'm sure I saw another one dotted around somewhere. Hey, Crisco? Good to see you. Good to see you, buddy. How you doing? You look bigger on a 32-inch monitor. Yeah, that'll help. Oh no, that'll help a lot. You got a new monitor then, huh? Can you, like, can you shoot it, please? Because, like, you can need like 15 attempts. Like, come on now. How you keeping? Have you got that monitor recent? Is that a new monitor you said you got, Briscoe? Ah, there's the other one. I get to it from here? Kind of. How's the game finding you? It's getting there. It's getting there now, 100% for sure. It was a slow burner to start with, but it's definitely picking up a notch now, or two. Have you played this one before? Let's go. I might have to move it around now. Can I go anywhere else? It's one of the two I set up today with my PC. Oh, nice. Is the PC new as well? When an ultra wide to show up? Oh, nice. I was tempted to get an ultra wide monitor for my gaming PC, but I don't have enough room. It would have looked stupid. Put it, in the corner. So the one I got, it's still curved, but it's just a standard, like it's a curved 1080p monitor instead, which does the job fine. So does the thing? Oh, and break. Okay. Let me move this across. Ooh. What's that second? I haven't played any God of War games. I'm more of a watcher of them. Ah, okay, that's fair. That's fair. So have you watched someone play? Oh wait, you're probably in ads now. So I'll wait until they're finished to respond. Unless you don't have any ads, then I can reply. Yeah, Ragnarok. Yeah. Oh, you have turbo. Oh, of course you have turbo. Yes, I just noticed the emblem. Nice. Now, my bad. Yeah. So have you watched any? Have you watched Ragnarok, or have you watched people play Ragnarok at all? Or is it just like the 2018 one, or even like the classic ones? I do have the classic version, like the original trilogy, of God of War. I have the first two on PS2, and then I'll probably just buy 3 remastered on PS4 or something, or on my PS5 or something when I get round to it. Yeah, I've watched some of it. It looks dope. It is really like, honestly, graphically, it looks amazing. Like it's definitely a PS5 game for sure. Like I think at this moment I would still highly recommend it just to see what happens after after the 2018 game for sure. Oof. I think as far as story I think as far as story I really focused on was nothing past the Thor fight. I think. Oh, what which? Oh, the first one with the Thor fight with Kratos. You mean? Because that's quite close to the beginning. You know what? Let's just grab this. Got all skills unlocked now so far. Right on anything. Yeah, I realized. Yeah, no, it's all good, it's all good. I wasn't too sure. I just want to double check, that's all. Yeah, welcome back from the ads, everybody. For those who have who had ads, it'd be finished. So we continue on. But yeah, I do plan on doing the. I think once I've done Ragnarok, I do plan on doing the original trilogy at some point. Just to kind of see, relive the backstory of a certain ghost of Sparta. You know? Wait, can I do this and just do this a couple times? Oh, maybe I gotta move it. Maybe I gotta like move the wheel, like the shield. Well, let's go back down. I'm not minding spoilers. It's not like Rebirth or Dragon's Dogma 2 for me. Ah, gotcha. Yeah. Well, Rebirth, luckily, I've already played, so you won't get any spoilers from me on that. Which is also on my YouTube channel. Oh, so I wonder if thank you for the follow, appreciate it. Thank you. They are anonymous, so you can just continue to lurk away if you wish, or shout from the heavens that you followed me, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Yeah, I watched you play a bit of it. Yeah, I thought so. That was an experience. That was such an experience of a game. Holy moly. Ah, okay. So now, if I move this field, it's gonna catch. Ah. Aha! Look at me go. Shit.
Well done.
Hey! I'm actually learning. Wow. Crazy.
Rude.
It was not intentional.
Oh, sure.
Rude. It was not. It wasn't. I didn't do it. I didn't mean to do it. I haven't even played Dragon's Dogma 2 either, so I can't really. Oh, that's an upgrade for thingy. Freya. There you go.
Again. Mimir, does this look like an abandoned treasury to you?
Aye, it does.
Sequin's family crest. Looks like a vault door to me.
Now that we have both halves to that key, we should see if it matches that lock.
Yeah. Nice. Knock that chest. Oh, an apple. Nice. So 2 out of 4. Let's go. Okay, nice.
What's in here then, I guess? There was a door similar to that in Alfheim, wasn't there?
Dead on the throne.
Oh.
Kratos!
Hello. Oh, you're a big boy, aren't you?
Felt that one, brother.
Yeah, I felt it too, buddy. Don't worry. Whoa, 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 whoa. Leon cowboy. Should have died, but it's fine. Traveler champion. Goodness. Oh no.
Here sits Prince Dagger. I can't believe he's still here.
Prince
Oh, he's.
Dagger?
Oh.
That the corpse of Sigrun's brother.
Oh.
How'd he end up like that then?
Very good question, Mimir.
Yeah? Why won't you answer me?
Wait, look at.
Are you certain you want to read this?
No, brother. You do it.
It seems Sigrun put a curse on her brother for killing the Mad King.
No. Truly?
She did not know the Mad King had murdered her family. Once she did, it was too late. She had cursed her brother. That is why she joined the Valkyries. To atone.
Oh.
You knew all about Sigrun's family, didn't you, Freya?
It's not my story to tell.
Funny. Learning all this only makes me love her more. She chose me despite my flaws, my regrets. Knowing she has some of her own makes me feel closer to her.
I am glad to hear it.
Aww. Lovely to see it. Lovely to see Mimir. Oop. Alrighty, so that's that quest line done. I wish I could just jump down. I'll just use the chain, but whatever. It's fine. So next on the cards is Animal Instincts. So we got to take out 3 more strongholds. There's one over here. That was 9.
There! How was Sigrun when you saw her last?
She's still incorporeal, ever since Kratos set her free of her corrupted form. But she hasn't let that stop her from helping any way she can. The truth is, I owe her more than I can repay.
I doubt she'd see it that way. When we freed her, she could speak of little else but her reverence for you. Seeing you yourself again would surely be payment enough.
Kratos, a raider encampment.
Shall we take care of them, brother?
Gladly. Let's fuck some raiders up. They're gonna be rated harder than Raid Shadow Legends ad. All right. Bonk. Good start. Good start, fellas. Good start. Ooh, I like that combo.
Enemy behind you, Kratos!
Yeah, it's fine. I was behind cover, dude. Like, come on, Mimir. Death from above.
Kratos.
I'm on fire. I'm on fire. Okay. Nice.
That is all of them.
That was much easier than the first one. Jesus. They've been getting better with the combat now. Maybe. I'm And what's in here then? Asgardian ingot. Ooh, I need that. That's good. Need that too. Health. Let's exit the way we came in. Move on to the next one. The two left, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So there's one. Okay, so I gotta try and get find a way up. Oh, hang on.
They still whine.
Poor thing. They can smell more danger.
The wolves fear that which can no longer hurt them.
The horrors of our past can be inextricable from the present. You have to understand that.
There was an entrance to this area. I'm sure it was around here somewhere. But
Freya, you were just beginning to tell us the story of Hrimthur, the stonemason's son, and the wager Odin involved you in.
Yes. All right. A mysterious mason had to build the entire wall in 3 turns of the season.
2! It was 2!
And if he was late, he'd be owed nothing. But if he succeeded, he was promised an audience with the queen. Or so I learned one day when Odin burst into our bedchambers, raging and half drunk before noon, telling me to get dressed and go see what the mason wants. So, off I went, not knowing what had truly been promised or expected. Dagger stashed in my robe for emergency. And this mason, this giant in disguise,
His name was Hrimthur.
he just smiled.
here's
deceitfully.
Ruther.
And as you said, he whispered in my ear. He said the Aesir had killed his father, and he needed to know that one day they'd burn for it. I pointed out I was Aesir now too, technically. He gave me a look, as if he somehow knew better, and continued. He said he'd built in a structural flaw behind the Asgard Realm Tower.
I knew it! How do we make use of it?
We don't. He said Surtur would know what to do. And if Surtur's approaching Asgard's wall,
Then it is already Ragnarok.
Aye, blast it. I hoped it might have given us another way.
another Coal Raider camp. Kratos, we should do something about them.
Alright, you've got fire in your hands. Let's use ice. Ice, baby. Vanilla ice, baby.
You're on fire, Kratos! Double fire!
Oh, that was nice. Nice. That was even more gory. Bonk. Yep, they're dead.
Now maybe the wolves will cease their whining.
Somehow I doubt that because there's another one left. Oh. Ooh. Whoa, Cyclone of Chaos. Circling sweep attack that clears out all nearby enemies. Oh, that's actually quite cool. That though. Rampage of the Furies. Damn, son. Weapons. Actually, yeah, I'll upgrade that. Mists of Helheim. Upgrade. Yeah, I'll upgrade that too. Oh, actually, probably the next thing I will upgrade though is probably the Valor Rage, Spartan Rage. I can get more health per use. Okay, so there's one more left.
Cursed wolves.
I grow tired of your lack of empathy for your own wolves.
It's Demos, isn't it, brother?
I should not have told you of Demos.
You see yourself in these wolves, in their fear.
Let us keep moving.
Something over here. Oh!
More Draugr crawling out of the bloody ground.
Whoa!
You're on fire, Kratos. Double fire.
Oh, come on. Back in a bit. No worries, Jax, no worries. I'll catch you in a mo.
More
Fine.
Draugr crawling out of the bloody ground.
Start spawning in. Start.
You're on fire, Kratos.
Sake.
Double fire.
Oh my god. Oh. God damn it. So close. Come on.
More Draugr crawling out of the bloody ground.
Get the fuck out of here. Let's go.
Blamed the gods for the death of her family and has been haphazardly wreaking her vengeance on anything within arm's reach. Even death didn't stop her.
I know.
Oh, nice. Oh, Chaos Spark. Oh, so if I get all those, if I get all the Draugr holes, I can get a Chaos Flame. Wonder how I get to that. Ah. I'll open our path for me to hit thing from behind. Nice. A wild Tortuga. They normally have some goodies, so we'll grab that really quick, and then we'll go and do this last raider camp, and the wolves will be. Hopefully.
Looking back to the topic of prophecies brought about by the efforts to avoid them. think I can recall such a story as you mentioned, brother. A Greek tale for the stage. Rather lurid, but very popular. You know the one?
Every Greek knows the tragedy of the Theban king.
Yeah, word gets around about that sort of thing.
Around here then? Nope. The Eternal Campfire. What the fuck is this? Rainbow!
An abandoned camp.
Whoever was here left long ago.
What did you find?
A list of provisions needed to prepare a meal.
A recipe? Who left that way out here?
Let's take a look at the ingredients. Perhaps the recipe will lead us to them.
Across the realms. Where on earth would be?
Do they match the ones in that recipe book you found?
I imagine we might find one of those ingredients around here.
Would be now. Filter scoff, no. Your spark, sovereign coals. Ravens, meal of camp. Find the prong fruit, bantam melon, elven cap, and Nordic gourd. I guess one of these ones where it's underground. Like under here, maybe? Looks like it actually. It's underneath the hill.
You once revived a giant corpse to stop a certain fight we won't talk about. Could you call on that power again?
Maybe. Do you have a massive giant's corpse for me to revive?
No?
Well, there you go.
Hey, look how you doing, buddy.
Wolves at ease.
Shit and fart. How you doing? How you doing, Luca? Hope you're well. Raider hideout. Ooh. Oh, okay, yep. Thanks for telling me that. Whilst I'm in a fight. How you doing, Luca? Well.
Enemies to your left!
We won't talk about that. Oh. There's a lot happening. Didn't start it.
Kratos, their chieftain.
Oh, right. Yeah, we probably should try and fight him, right? No, sir, not today. That was unfortunate. Oosh. Okay. There
The
is...
chieftain. Was he the one who captured the wolves before you freed them?
I do not know.
Regardless, they should draw some comfort from his death.
Some nice stuff. Nice. Okay. Cool. Woohoo! Goodies, goodies, goodies. Goodies, goodies, goodies. Ooh, heavy Tartarus Rage. 2 destructive blade slams that stagger and launch enemies. Like does more damage and burn. Nice. Okay, so there's 3 lanterns we gotta try and... Well, I suppose we... There's try and then we can also do this. That works. There's one in there too. Okay. Where would the last one be? All the way over there. Huh. Ooh, hold on. Do that. And then aim this flame thing. Look at that. God, I'm a genius sometimes. Nice. Another horn. Horn. So 2 out of 4 for blood mead. Okay. Nice. But that quest line is done, I think. We just need to go back and see the wolves, and hopefully they'll be in happier spirits. hope.
They're still scared.
Not of the raiders.
Maybe they're scared of him. Aww.
Do not be afraid. You are safe.
Aww.
Good. Good boys.
Girls.
Good girls.
Oh. See? Didn't take much, did it? Oh. Okay. Token of elemental evasion. Dodge rolling will hasten the expiration of burn, poison, and frost status effect on Kratos. Ooh, yeah, I prefer that over that. The remedy of Bifrost. Thank you very much. Ooh. Okay, Specky and Svana. Oh, is there any is there any skills I can do now? 5,000. Oh no, I was gonna say Freya. I'll probably do Freya's. Yeah, because I was gonna save it for the Spartan Rage. That's that. We'll probably go to here because that's where Sindri is, so we can do some last minute upgrades and whatnot. And it is 10:05, so we will probably call it a night here then. I mean, we did some good progress there, I think. Not like amazing amounts, but I feel like we've done, a good little bit.
Whatever you need.
Guess I can upgrade. Ah, yes.
Anything for Freya?
Oh, upgrade that sword.
Hope it's to your liking. Kratos? I'll disinfect my tools.
Hilt of Ridil. Unleash a wave of shock to electrify enemies. Ooh, yeah, I'll take that.
The cutter of hearts and the fury of the sky. And for the Valkyrie Queen?
Attack there's all damage that was significantly increased. Oh, what's that? All damage dealt significantly increased while runic arrows are fully depleted. Killing an enemy with a runic arrow immediately restores 2 in its place. Ooh. Look at that.
What'll it be? I'll heat up the forge.
Oh yeah, we can sell these actually.
Oh, thanks. Glad to take that off your hands and watch it. I just need one more Asgardian ingot. Oh, I can upgrade the handle for the axe. It'll get me closer to level 5. Grip of the Fallen Alchemist.
realistically, I need to level up the actual weapon.
That ought to hurt him.
I lose 14 vitality. I think I will, because I do like that shield, because it's parry right before getting hit, and then do immediately press R to do a special counter attack.
Want something in particular?
5. Yeah, it's just I need to find
Always at your service.
ice, and I need to find a thing to upgrade. Well, if I can upgrade the Blades of Chaos and the Leviathan Axe. Wait, what does it look like once I've upgraded it, actually? Frozen Flame, sorry. Oh, it changes after level 6 and then level 8. And what about the... Oh, level 6 Blades of Chaos look amazing. I mean, level 9, level 8, level 9. Well. Eesh.
And now, Freya? What do you need? Just checking in on me?
Okay, let's save it here. Hey, Lakers. Welcome in. Apologies you've caught me as I'm about to wrap up. So... Alrighty. I think I know where we're going. I think I know where we're going. We're gonna go say hi to Ben, because he's doing a stream back of Elden Ring after his little trip. So we're gonna go say hi to Ben, a friend of mine. He's playing Elden Ring. He's doing a I think he's doing like a martial arts only run of the game. So interesting to check out. I say, we'll probably be playing that this weekend with me and Ben. Me and Ben will be playing that at some point over the weekend, I think. So yeah, I look forward to jumping back into that, and I'll start putting up the first couple of episodes streams of Elden Ring as well. Take care. I'll try to... No worries. I appreciate it. I appreciate you popping in for a couple of minutes there, because it's always good to see you. Hope you've been keeping well. No worries, Jax. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. Yeah, we're gonna read out to Ben. So let me get the raid going. Alrighty. But yeah, thank you again so much for everyone popping in. Always greatly appreciate it. Thank you for the follows that came through as well. And I will hopefully see you all next time for more God of War Ragnarok, which will be Wednesday. Yeah, hopefully we'll be back tomorrow with more God of War Ragnarok. And we'll continue on where we left off and go from there, really. And let's go say hi to Ben. Use the raid message if you want to. Until next time, take care and goodbye for now.